The inspiration behind God's Country was a plethora of things. It started with my poems that I have been writing since I was 11. I think the oldest poem that I did tonight, I wrote maybe about 2000, and I was about 19. And just trying to figure out a way to bring them to life in another way besides just presenting them in a poetry venue. But then I did a trip 2 years ago, cross country, drove to California, and I got a chance from here, got a chance to see all of God's country, so to speak, because that's what our country is dubbed, the God's country. And I started to think about, if this is really God's country, then where the hell is God? You know, and not in a facetious way like there's no God. No, in a way in which, where are we finding God? Is God within us? Is God in somebody else? Because how can we see the God in somebody else if we don't even know that there's a God in us?
Have you been religious in the past?
I grew up Seventh-day Adventist. Not devout, but I went to Bible study and went to church, and you know, I had an accident when I was in my early 20s. I was in the car, I wasn't driving, and that kind of drove me back to church because it was really a miracle that I survived. And so I was like, oh my goodness, I need to get my life right and everything. But I've always had these struggles, these internal issues with the church, because I'm black and lesbian and woman and just very different. I could never really be all of me, because we would have family, it was a family church, and you know, you just don't want to, in church you have to walk lightly, you have to tread lightly. So I just decided, you know, and then I started to study different faiths, different belief systems, and started to realize that there's an overall theme. You know, there's one truth, you know, and the underlying thing is basic goodness.
Well, you play 8 characters in this. Why those particular 8 did you choose?
Some of them, probably about 5 of the 8 already kind of existed in poems. So I just kind of tried to figure out a way to frame them so that they would all, how would all of these people collide? Where would they meet? You know what I mean?
But these are experiences that you have seen?
People I've seen, like with Sean, he, that poem came about, I was sitting in it was an adult group home, but it also was a ice cream parlor. And so like the guys that lived there worked there as well. And so I heard him talking to one of his counselors, and he was saying how he had a son, and he was trying to change, and that's why he was trying to get into the group home, that's why he was trying to do the right thing. And I sat there that day and wrote the poem. The poem is called No Motivation. And so the character Sean grew out of my artistic license, you know. So a lot of times, and Marquisha, I worked with at-risk youth. I graduated from Copeland in 2003 and started to have a criminal justice degree. So I worked with at-risk youth for like 8 years. I'm a full-time artist now, but so she came out of my experiences with those young ladies.
Well, you were one of several communities, apparently. You're part of the LGBT community, I take it. In reference to God's country and the way you live now, is it a better country or worse than when you were in college?
I think it is. I mean, everything post 9/11 is different.
Yeah. Well, also politics.
Yeah, politics, everything is different. I think that it's not, I don't want to say it's a better or a worse country. I feel like it is a country that is catching up. Because across the world, you know, there are multiple countries who have allowed gay marriage for many years. We're just kind of catching up to that. I don't know if that is necessarily something that I applaud, just because of the way, because I know the politics behind that, you know what I mean, and how much money that brings the country, and how much this and how much that, and it's all business. It's all business, every bit of it. People might not, you know, think that that's a popular opinion, but I do know that when marriage was first instituted, the church didn't want anything to do with it because it was a business arrangement.
It's a tough question.
Yeah, for you. It is. It's a loaded one, because there are some things that are just better, and then there are some things that still, you know, I don't know how I feel about post-racial America. I don't know how I feel about them wanting to take the N-word out of the dictionary. I feel like if it's out of the dictionary, then you're trying to make me believe that it never existed, or that we need to redefine it. and keep using it, but the stigma is still behind that. You know what I mean? It still exists. We're not too many generations removed from slavery, so we're still descendants of a very chaotic world.
Well, I didn't know that you had written and had a book published. I learned that tonight.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
I published it myself in 2010. It's at Busboys and Poets on 14th and V. It's at Red Emma's. It's been stocked in various different stores, and I actually won the B Grant Award in 2011 based around that, the Mary Sawyers Baker B Grant Award based around that book.
Was that a collection of poems?
It is. It's kind of a poetic memoir. It's separated into 3 sections: the woman, the griot, the warrior, and it's about 200 pages.
So have you found solace now? The woman, the warrior, etc. Have you found solace? Have you capsulized and crystallized all those characters into one yet?
Do I have to?
Well, I'm expecting that you to arrive at some place where you have conquered and decided that this is what I'm going to be from here on in.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That has absolutely happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is your journey now, that you have arrived at the zenith point and you're going to just float from here on in.
I don't know if I can ever float.
But you were tonight.
Was I floating? Oh, thank you. I think that for me, there's always some more work to do, and that's why I do multiple things. Like I play guitar, I take photos, I write plays, so it's multiple things. I'm always growing and creating, and being a full-time creative is the challenge. So I don't know if I'll ever really float per se, but I think I will glide.
So what's the name that we should look for?
The name that most people know.
Yeah.
Well, there's 2 of them now.
I heard.
Yes, there's 2 of them now. I've been trying to get people to know my birth name, which is Michelle Antoinette.
Right.
My last name is Nelson, Michelle Antoinette Nelson, and my book is published under Michelle Antoinette Nelson.
Okay.
But my stage name, and for branding purposes, my brand is Love the Poet. LOVETHEPOET. So if you Google that, I'm there everywhere. That's my website, everything like that. So that's me.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.